Thank you so much for all you do. I absolutely love Your Wish is Your Command. It seems like you were talking to me. I read the book Natural Cures That I Want You to Know About. I read it 7 times, and it's still one of my favorite books. My question is, I live in Ontario, Canada, and the apples here are local, but are not organic apples. However, there are apples from the USA that are organic, and I've been buying the ones from the USA because they are organic. I recall that you said that locally, organically grown is the best. Can you please explain what I should do in this situation? There are other fruits as well that are local in Ontario, but not organically grown, and they are organic from Mexico. Can you please explain on that concept? Sure. And this is a great question. Look, number one, don't get too fanatical, because the more energy you have with fanaticism causes negative effects in the body. So you have to care, but not that much. Ideal scene, what's grown locally. And in America, we have a certification called organic. In Europe, I believe the term is bio. I don't know what the term is in Canada. You know, before the word organic, there was just food. And the joke was, what did they call organic food back in 1950? And the answer is food, because all food was, quote, organically grown. It wasn't until recently that all these chemical pesticides and herbicides. Every country has a different definition of what organic is. In some countries, you can take a seed and make it into a hybrid, and it can still be called organic, because organic is based on how it's grown. In some countries, you can take a seed and genetically modify it. And if it's grown without pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, it can still be called organic, even though it's genetically modified. So you have to look at your countries. In America, when I buy food, my choice, if it's available, is organic and non-GMO, which means it's not been genetically modified. Ideally locally grown, but sometimes it can't be locally grown. I don't know what the produce or the apples are like in Ontario. I don't know what they use for sprays. Maybe they don't use any. Maybe the particular company isn't paying the extra money to get the certification for organic. Maybe they're just missing one little element, so they can't be called organic because maybe the guy next to him has. I don't know what the rules are. So if I lived in Canada, I'd maybe do a little research and say, hey, listen, what's actually the definition of organic in Canada? And the apples, how you guys grow them? Do you use any sprays on the outside? I mean, there's nothing wrong with calling the guy and say, listen, I'm thinking about buying your apples, but do you spray them with anything? Do you use any chemicals? I'm trying to get like organic stuff, which maybe they'll be happy to tell you about them. So kind of do the best you can. One challenge, and I don't know about Canada, is in America, many of the food that comes in is irradiated, which means in order to protect people from various organisms, which makes sense, they irradiate, which means they give radiation to the food to kill some of these organisms. But what that does, it kills the life force in the food. You can tell that by looking at what's called Kirlian photography, which is a type of photography which you can actually see. It's black and white. It's not an aura camera, but it's black and white. You can see the outline. You can go online and look at Kirlian photography, and you can see photos. But you take an organic apple and you can see the beautiful ring around it, and then an irradiated apple, and it's like all over the place. And then a conventional apple, same thing. It's all over the place because of the chemicals. So ideally, you want to eat organic, ideally locally grown. But I can just say this: care, but not that much. Don't be that fanatical. It's better to eat something and bless it and be appreciative and grateful for the food, knowing that it's going to be wonderful for you, and without fear. That will then bless you. If you put fear into the food or disgust, it's like a person's on a diet and goes, oh, I know I shouldn't eat this chocolate cake. It's just, I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to have a little bit. I know it's bad for me. It's like 100 times worse for you now. It'd be better to look at the chocolate cake and say, you know something? I'm going to love this chocolate cake. It looks delicious. I bet it is delicious. And I'm going to enjoy every minute and bless God and thank God for this chocolate cake, because I'm going to love it like it's my last meal. Now that chocolate cake is actually not going to have very many detrimental effects, because you're giving it so much love and energy, it actually changed the structure of it.